Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. This is the United Community Podcast and we're back for another season, 2023-2024 season coming up, and we've got our preview show for you today. We're going to be discussing it all. Of course, we'll be talking Manchester United. Ricey is going to be with us as well, so we'll talk about the transfer window and what he thinks about that. Can United challenge this season? And we'll look ahead to the first game of the season against Wolves as well. We're also going to be giving you our predictions, so we're going to be talking about relegation. We're going to be talking about top six, top goal scorer, player of the year, and maybe surprise teams and players, both good and bad. But as usual, get your thoughts into the comment section below and let's get right into it.
You have to feel this is their year. They must be playing defensive. Schmeichel's not coming up for this one. Thinks he's done enough. Is this their moment? It's a Sheringham. And Solskjaer has won it. Manchester United have reached the promised land. Oli Solskjaer. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Jay, you're welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us as usual. And as usual, back again for another season. We've got Ricey on the podcast with us, looking forward to getting into another season of arguments, to say the least. But how we doing, Ricey? All good?
All good, Jack. You?
Yeah, good, man. Good, man. Good to have you back. Looking forward to the upcoming season?
Yeah. Geez, it kind of came around quickly, didn't it?
It did. It doesn't take long to get through pre-season and all that kind of stuff as well. But look, we'll jump straight into it, Ricey, because I know time is of the essence for you as well. So yeah, I mean, let's jump straight into it. Of course, we'll start with Manchester United like we always do. And of course, Manchester United's transfer window has seen 3 players in and potentially some more coming in. But I think what I'd like to get your opinion on more than anything is it overall a good transfer window for United? Of course, you are the unbiased outsider, not a United fan. If you were to put it all into perspective, maybe incomings, outgoings, what do you make of it so far?
Well, so far, look, they seem to do decent work so far. They brought in it just really depends how these players kick on. On paper, they're after doing good work. Well, they didn't do great work in getting players out the door. They got a few out. I see there they got Elanga, Tellez, De Gea is gone, Phil Jones is gone, that Tuanzebe's gone, and Sabitzer and Weggy's loans are up.
Yeah.
I think it was right to get rid of Elanga. I don't know, when we were talking last season, I know you kind of spoke as him as a star for the future. Never really rated him myself. I don't even think he showed really flashes when he was given the chance, and he was given numerous chances.
Yeah.
But I think between him and Tellez, they only kind of recouped about 20 million. You still have big wage bills there. Yeah, getting De Gea off that is a massive thing. I think the best thing about getting rid of De Gea is he was a great servant too. You probably spoke a lot about this on your lives and all, so we won't go too much into details, but it's kind of almost like the Ronaldo thing as well. That's the end of the story there. Once he's out the door now, so there's no more should he stay or should he go. He's gone now. That's it. That chapter's done and dusted. The Ronaldo era, it'll take a bit of time to get over the era, but you're kind of, football is evolving, and that's the route that Ten Hag seems to be going with this keeper that he bought.
Yeah.
So he brought in Mount Højlund. No, I seen him say the other day, you don't pronounce the D.
You dropped the D.
Lund. Yeah, he said Lund. So Onana and Johnny Evans. Look, Johnny Evans, are they going to give him the year? I see short term. What were they saying is short term? Is that a month, 6 months?
Well, short term was initially supposed to be the first 2 preseason games in Oslo and Edinburgh, and I think it was extended then for him to go on the preseason tour of America as well.
Not a bad person, though, if you just pick up for the year there, because he'd be more than happy to kind of sit around, could play game 6 in the Champions League if you're already qualified, a few Carabao Cups, league game here and there. He's a model professional.
That's the one thing I said about Johnny Evans as well. There was a lot of kind of flack coming from opposition fans, and it's always going to happen. But if he does get a 1-year deal, it's going to be as a 5th choice centre back.
Oh, and he knows that. But sure, would you not rather that with your kind of maybe his boyhood club where he started out, rather than going trying to slog it out for someone in the Championship, playing 36, 7, 8 games that season? He's had his career.
Yeah.
And he's had a pretty decent career. But it would be a nice way to finish it off for him.
Absolutely.
But look, I think the main one comes down, the 3 signings, like they're 3 key players. Like you have a goalie, you have a midfielder down the centre, and you have a centre forward after being bought. Like Mount, he will love, like people will love to give him flack. Of what I've seen, I didn't watch every United game in depth or anything, but what I've seen, he hasn't had the most promising
of starts.
pre-season, but there was always going to be massive pressure on this move, and this kind of move kind of came out of nowhere, and for once United actually kind of got a deal over the line without it going into like
a summer saga.
Yeah, exactly. Historically, United have been like, sure, last season Frankie de Jong. And even this season with the owners and all, that's just a saga that's going on and on. They kind of got the deal done. And I think I rate the signing. I like Mount. Mount, even though he was always known as the Coven boy, was it? He was a Chelsea star boy. But you're getting an English player there. Is Mount 24?
24, yeah.
24 years old. Chelsea Player of the Year in 01-02 in 2020, 2021, and 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
So before last season, the 2 previous seasons, he's their Player of the Year, no matter what their
Champions
fans
League
say
in one of
online.
them seasons.
He did. Like, it will be. It's nice to get in like English players into your club too.
Yeah.
Hodgson, I'm not going to lie, I don't know a whole lot about him. He looks like a bit of a spud, but
we're back.
But like, where can we start on this Onana? Like this
right. Go. Let's start here. Good or bad?
It's going to be exciting for the neutrals anyway. Like the way what I commented on your TikTok the other day, like it was 3 games in, and like what he's known for is being this eccentric goalkeeper that's known to have absolutely unbelievable passing range. He's not afraid to do a Cruyff turn on the edge of his box when there's a defender closing down. But in his 3rd game, he's after getting lobbed. So the one fear that every United fan probably had signing him, going, oh, he is good with his feet and all that, but he's so far out of his box that every opposition player is going to say shoot on sight. And that happened the other day, not being his fault. One of your defenders, was it a defender or a CDM, gave the ball away sloppily. But like, that's what he gets when you can play with defenders like this also.
Yeah.
Like, do you say it's not his fault? Or do you say, well, you're the one that plays like this, so it is your fault?
Well, I think Ten Hag has made his mind up on how he wants to play football. He wants to play out from the back. He wants to keep possession. And I think, so for that reason, I would probably put the blame more so on Delo than on Onana, because his game is all about playing high up the field.
I 100% agree with you there. I'm not saying, like, United would have had scouts. You probably scouted him 15, 20 times, maybe even more. And
he played for Ten Hag before.
Yeah, but he knows exactly what he's getting. It's not like the goalie can't be given out to Ferdat in that game anyway.
Yeah.
But I do just think it's very early for this to have happened. Yeah. I know it's only a friendly, so it kind of went...
It went under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. It was still trending all over social media, but it did kind of go under the radar because you're like, oh, look, it is a friendly, and the defender did give away the ball. It's not as if he passed the ball directly out, but I did think it was amusing that, like, it's 3 games in and it's like a talking point.
Yeah. But look, long term, I think when it comes to Onana, I think he's going to revolutionize how we play. I have to say, I think, like, I can see some of the patterns of play throughout preseason already where we're playing so much higher up the field. Our fullbacks are on at minimum are on the halfway line. Our 2 central midfielders, our 2 centre backs are nearly playing as fullbacks. Onana is there as nearly a pivot on his own. It's pushing our central midfielders higher up the field. Maybe only one needs to drop. I think it's going to absolutely revolutionize how United play, and I think it's probably the most important signing that we have made in the summer.
Yeah, but I put him on par with. Yeah, he probably is the most important signing because, like he's your goalie. You don't have a massive established backup goalie either. Kind of, there's a lot of eggs going into this basket. At least with Hodgson, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
No.
If things, I'm not saying don't work out for him, but if he's slow to take off, you can put Rashi up centre forward. You're after playing Sancho in pre-season there. Like, if this guy doesn't settle quick in the goal, it's just such a big position as well. It's not like a striker. Like, if this lad doesn't set in the goal and 4 games into the season, Ten Hag turns around and he's like, right, he's on the bench. They're like, has Ten Hag made a massive mistake? He's benched his new £50 million goalie after 4 games. You know, it's not as easy as a thing to do as whereas you say, if I bench my striker, you're like, nah, we're giving him a rest. He'll be brought on there for the last 20 minutes. We're starting Rashford centre forward. You know? Like,
and I think Gary Neville hit the nail on the head. He said that the goalkeeping position at Man United is probably the most scrutinised position in all of English football, you know, and I think that's pretty spot on, you know, down through the years.
Sure. De Gea seen it firsthand, even like De Gea done brilliantly, and people would be like, De Gea's back, you know, and then he'd drop a clanger.
Yeah.
Like, the spotlight is on that position.
Yeah.
You'd want 350,000 a week to play that role, you know.
Yeah, you would,
80,000 people in the stadium.
Yeah, like, absolutely.
They're all delighted to see the back of the hair, and the chap got Player of the Year about 7 years in a row.
I know. Now, look, I know.
I'm not saying delighted to see the back of him, but you know, what I mean? Call a spade a spade. You didn't want him to stay.
Well, I wouldn't have minded him staying, but I do think it was. I won't say easy to get a replacement in, but I do think it was an area we should have been improving, regardless of whether.
I think if he stayed, though, that saga just carries on. Then, you know, like, is De Gea staying or going? Like, there hasn't even been a whole lot of interest in him. I seen Bayern sniffing a bit. He'll probably go to
Saudi Arabia,
Qatar. Yeah, Saudi. I thought somebody a bit more established might be.
Yeah, maybe it's his wages. You know? I say that's probably holding up any potential moves for him. But
wait, overall for you, sorry.
Go on.
What are you thinking? United, I was looking up, like, United have played a hell of a lot of pre-season games. I see they played 8, won 4, drew 1, lost 3. Losing 3, like, are you going to count that Wrexham loss? Yeah, it's a loss. You played your under 23s. The only lad I knew of that starting team was Hannibal. Yeah. The match he drew there against Atletico the other day was a bit of a rip-off for Irish fans. It wasn't as bad as Atletico Bilbao. Sorry, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. As in, he had a lot of
fringe players.
Yeah, at least he didn't play our 23s, and that's no disrespect to 23s. But people pay €95 a ticket. They want to go and see their idols. But you still at least played Wan-Bissaka, and there was household names there.
Yeah,
you know, there was
and I think the main gist that I got off of people up in Dublin, I was talking to a good few people, was that the Lens game was announced 3 weeks after the game in Dublin was announced. So basically, it was just bad form. You like if the Lens game and the Aviva game were announced on the same day, you could, you know, the majority of United fans would have gone, well, there's probably not going to be a full squad playing in the Aviva, and they could make up your mind then whether you're going to go or not. I think the kind of snakery out of United was a bit, you know, it was a bit disappointing that.
Yeah, and that game sold out very quickly.
It sold out, and then the Lens game was announced. And
up at the game was a complete sellout, or could you see empty seats?
There was 50,500 at it. So it was, you know, I think 55 is capacity. So it was pretty full, you know. But yeah, look, I think overall pre-season has been okay. I don't think it's overly important results in pre-season, I have to say. Like, I remember Louis van Gaal's first year, we won 7 out of 7 games, beating Real Madrid and teams like that. And then did we win one out of our first 5 games of the Premier League season? You know, on pre-season, we were thinking we're going to win the league here. You know what I mean?
Last season, you had a big wake-up call. You lose 4-0 to either Brentford or Brighton. You lost
we lost to Brentford and Brighton. Again, we had a really good pre-season last year as well. We beat Liverpool. You know, there were some very good
pre-season. I admit, look, pre-season, it is nice to bring in form out pre-season, and no one wants to be coming in with 5 games played and no wins. But like, you wouldn't mind a mixed bag here and there. You wouldn't mind the losses, or like, even you're going seeing Liverpool there losing 4-3 to Bayern, but like, teams like that, you might even take some more out of that. You just want your striker scoring. Everyone wants to be keeping clean sheets, but like you're making all these teams at half time, they're making 7, 8, 9, 10 changes. And it's just about getting people minutes in the legs and maybe.
Absolutely. It's about patterns of play and getting used to what Ten Hag wants from you and integrating your new squad members and so on and so forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, all of that said, without maybe giving away your top 4 or your top 6 predictions, do you think Manchester United, given the business they've done this year on the back of a good, solid season last year under Ten Hag, do you think United can actually challenge?
I think United. I think it depends how much. It depends. It really depends, I think, on squad depth and how the new players gel together. Like, other teams have gotten stronger. Man City have gotten stronger. I know they got rid of 1 or 2 players, key players, but like bringing in that Vardy at the back, one of the best defenders in the world. I know the Premier League is a different ball game, but you'd imagine he'd take to it well. Like, they still have RoboCop up top there. I do think, like, I've noted down some points on United on how I think they can mount a better challenge than last year, like how they can kind of progress. I think the players are comfortable and confident in Ten Hag's system. Like, they're starting the season off now in a lot stronger position than they did last year. I know last year their preseason may have went better, but they started off with losses to Brighton, losses to Brentford. This season, your first matches are Wolves away, Wolves at home, which is probably the best match you could start off this Premier League season with.
Even with a new manager bounce.
It's not like a new manager in the middle of a season. It's a new manager 4 days before the Premier League starts that has got nothing to do with his team during preseason. He doesn't even know who's fully fit or who's not fit. He hasn't been watching Wolves for the last few weeks knowing that their manager is going to get sacked.
Well, supposedly Lopetegui for the last couple of weeks has known he's going to leave, and he has stayed on to work with the squad in pre-season while they find a replacement.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think Wolves are a bit of a sinking ship anyway. We'll speak on that later when. But United, Wolves have to be getting 3 points there. I don't care about first game of the season. Have to be getting 3 points there. Spurs away. We'll speak about them a little later on too. Forest at home, Arsenal away, Brighton at home. Manchester United should be looking, I think, at minimum 11 points out of their first 5 games.
Okay.
So 3 wins and 2 draws. That's, for me, if I was a United fan, what I'd be looking for.
Yeah.
Like Arsenal away, Arsenal are one of the big teams. United considered, and they are historically one of the big teams. But if you're wanting to be mixing it up there at the top, you'd nearly want to be getting a win at Spurs or Arsenal away.
Yeah, you'd want to be going into that Arsenal game no more than 3 points behind them.
No, like you're already talking 3 points behind them. That'd be after 3 games. You'd be saying, "Oh, we're 3 points behind Arsenal here."
Yeah, and then if you lose to them, then all of a sudden that's 6 points after.
Yeah, it's just a kind of a confidence thing too that you need to progress with. But I do think the players have all bought into what Ten Hag does. Second thing is that I noted down the keeper problem. You may have solved your keeper problem. This lad's passing range. This lad has assists. This lad can start attacks. I know keepers can do that with their hands and feet anyway, but like he has a very good reading of the game. And I think if he settles in well and the defense and midfield buy into what he does and you're successful at doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to say, we'll buy into it. That doesn't mean you're going to be good at it. Like he's going to be very high up the pitch and it's going to have to make the midfielders work even harder, because if they lose possession of the ball, this keeper is 30, 40 yards off his line. So they have to work like dogs to get it back straight away. You know, it's not just like, oh, we lost the ball, let's get our shape back. Another thing is, I think Manchester United's midfield is now looking the best it has looked in 10 years. Okay. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I'll let you explain it though.
Last year, 2 massive signings for me were Casemiro. Obviously, everyone knows that. Eriksen was also a brilliant signing. He filled a gap there, but as well as filling the gap, he also added a bit to it.
He had quality.
He did. That's added that
Yeah,
bit of quality that you hadn't had there before. You have Bruno there, you have Mount to add to that. Like
yeah,
these are all central players. Then you have good wide players. I think what will be key to United, if this new signing is a very good 9 and can play up there for most of the season, I think what Rashford can add coming in off that left will, because Rashford hasn't been prominently on the left for a number of seasons, but personally I think that's where his best position is.
Oh, absolutely. He said it
But
in the
like
interview with
he's
with
always
Gary
getting
Neville.
pulled. He's always getting pulled in to play that central role in the end because someone's injured or they're not doing it, and they know he can do it a decent job there. But
Yeah,
if he can do a world class job left on the left side, you don't want him just being a stopgap there. But you have them midfielders there. In my opinion, it's United's strongest midfield, definitely centrally in the last 10 years.
yeah.
Another point is that the new striker should lift the team. Is that your transfer done now, or are you looking?
No, well, it looks like now any incomings now will depend on player sales. So we have been linked with Amrabat, and he looks like one that could potentially get done pretty easily. We've also been linked only today because it looks like Harry Maguire is probably going to leave.
I see that 30 million. Yeah,
30 million. It looks like maybe Scott McTominay is going to leave. Donny van de Beek. Well, maybe not Scott McTominay. He's probably the least out of all of them to go. But you're talking Maguire, Donny van de Beek, Fred, and then maybe a Brandon Williams or some of these kind of players. So it looks like Amrabat and potentially United have been linked today with Jean-Claude Todibo from Nice as a centre back, or Pavard of Bayern Munich. And supposedly both of them are interested in signing.
Pavard right full,
but can also play centre back as well. And I think that's probably why Ten Hag likes him. That he's, you could play him in either position.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to be it for United. Outside of that,
But then the final point that I have noted down, just to say, if they can mount a title challenge, is they have no drama this season surrounding Cristiano Ronaldo. Which I was a massive fan of Ronaldo. But when things went the way they did last December, like that had a massive negative impact all through January till he finally went. And then some players being, probably the likes of Dallo and all, who would have been same nationality, friendly with him, were probably upset that he left. And it's just emotions running through the squad there that you do not need this distraction.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to be going back to the Ronaldo. That was just one of the points.
No,
I
agree.
Is something. It's like they're carefree almost now without this. If they could just get the new owners now.
Until the 14th, when the Mason Greenwood verdict has been announced from United.
Yeah. Look, I do also think that the owners, I think they may be trying to get him back into the club.
Mason Greenwood.
Yeah. And the reason they're saying this has the manager doesn't even know or anything like that is that, like, if the shit does hit the fan, they're protecting the manager because the manager has no say in it whatsoever.
That's what I said. Is it United protecting Ten Hag?
Well, that's what, like, that's a kind of possibility of what it could be.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Absolutely.
Personally, I think United are mad if they bring him back.
Yeah.
He's a talent. He's a talent, all right, but I think they're absolutely stonewall. People have their own opinions. We won't get into it here. And like he mightn't be. Was he not proven guilty? Is that what they said? Or
charges were dropped.
So he's not proven innocent. But the only thing is, thousands, if not millions of people heard the recordings. And people make up their own minds on that. And there's people out there which you can't change their mind what they heard.
Yeah.
And what way they heard. I know he has a child with that girl now. I know all this. But still, that incident happened.
I know. And I think the juice is not worth the squeeze anymore.
No way. I don't think so. I think people, what did they say about United? Hated, adored, but never ignored. Like, this would sum up that. If he came back to United.
But Ricey, do you know what I would say? And I said it on Ronaldo last year. And the reason why I wanted Ronaldo to go is I said, if Ronaldo stays, it would be Ronaldo as story number one and football as story number two. And if Mason Greenwood comes back to the club, it's going to be exactly the same. It'll be Mason Greenwood's story number one.
I don't see how they would swing that. I just don't see how they could swing it.
Going back to the midfield there, or the start of the season, what you were saying, I think one more positive for United going into the start of the season in comparison to last year's, we've got our business done before the start of the season.
You have got your business done.
Casemiro wasn't there for the start of the season. Anthony wasn't there for the start of the season. I think Eriksen was only just in the door maybe a couple of days before. So I'm happy we got it done nice and early this year, you know.
And they got to play a few matches together, and it's like, look, I think overall you're in a good bit better shape than you were this time last year, but it's just to kind of glue it all together now. And,
that's it.
Hit the ground running. Yeah,
hit
the ground running.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hit the ground running.
Absolutely. Right, let's move it on anyway. We'll move away from Manchester United and we'll talk about our Premier League predictions for the upcoming season. And we're going to start with the bottom of the table. We're not going to do all 20 because we would be here all night. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the bottom 3, then we're going to do top 6. We're going to move on then to top goal scorer, player of the year, and then we've got who will be a surprise, both team and player, and who will be a flop, both team and player. So that's the order that we're going to do it. So let's start with the bottom 3, and we'll do it in order. I'll ask you who you think is going to be bottom, then I give mine, and we'll go from there. So if we start with rock bottom, 20th, the Whipping Boys, who are you going for?
Rock bottom, I'll go for Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, right? I don't even have them in my bottom 3.
No, I just think to be, that's my bottom. I have Bournemouth.
Hold on, I give you my bottom one.
Yeah, I actually didn't even, I kind of picked them there. I didn't put it in an order. I did put it in an order, but I kind of changed my order in my head there, like just.
Right, because you do know we're going to come back to this at the end of the season.
Yeah. I'll give you my bottom 3, right? I don't know who's going to be the Whipping Boys. I'll give you the bottom 3. I didn't have them in a particular order.
Come on, commit to it.
But mine are Bournemouth, Sheffield United and Luton. And I say Luton with a heavy heart. Like, I think everyone wants Luton to stay up there. The Blackpool of, I think, 2013, was it?
Yeah.
Or, no, Fergie was there.
12, I think.
2012, was it, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to see Luton stay up just because they're that success story. But they're also getting to live their story this year, you know? And what's to say they won't stay up? It's just, it's hard to see it.
Is it from non-league to Premier League in 10 years? I think for Luton, something like that. Anyway, there's a 10-year space from, I think, coming into the Football League to getting into the Premier League, which is crazy. My bottom 3, I've gone with Sheffield United in 20th. I think they're absolutely screwed already.
Yeah, they sold their striker, sure.
Sold their 2 of their best players. They lost a lot of players that they had on loan, never replaced them. I think they're in serious trouble. I've gone with Luton in 19th. Yeah. And I've gone with Wolves in 18th. I think Wolves are finished.
Yeah, Wolves are knocking around there too for me. But look, you had to make a call. I was going to say another thing. It's like happened many years ago too. But if you look up the Premier League table, it's almost like you could say, is it the best Premier League ever, or you could say, is it kind of the worst Premier League ever? That I think the divide between the top half and the bottom half of the Premier League is as big as it ever was.
Yeah.
Like if you just look at some of the bottom teams in that league, let me see if I can get.
Yeah, but in saying that, while you're doing that, you also have to admit that some of the lower teams have really bridged the gap. Your Brentfords, your Brightons.
Yeah, no, but I'm putting them, your Villas, I'm putting them in the top half. I'm saying the teams.
Whereas this time, at the start of the season last year, like Villa were bottom.
Yeah, I'm just putting there, like your teams that like Everton aren't in the great side, like Fulham aren't in the great side, Burnley aren't in the great side. I don't mean great, but like, they're not your top tier sides, but like they don't look like they'll be in problems with relegation. I know we'll have to see as the season goes on, but it's just
maybe it's
great that there's 9 possible teams that could get relegated.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Maybe that's a good
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah. Right. So we agree on Sheffield United and Luton anyway. And then you've gone for Bournemouth and I've gone for Wolves. So interesting stuff there. Right. Let's do the top 6. And we'll start with 6th place. Have you got these in order? I presume so. Roughly.
No, I have a top 4.
Right. Well, I'll ask you for your 6th then as well. I'll give you mine first. I'll let you think
Yeah.
about it. I've gone with Newcastle in 6th. I think Newcastle, now that they're going to be juggling European football, and with other teams improving, I think they'll struggle this year. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm going to go with Newcastle for 6th.
Yeah.
Okay, you who are you going with?
I'm actually going with Chelsea in 6th.
Chelsea in 6th, right? Do you not think Pochettino can potentially get them into the top 4?
Chelsea, and we'll just while we're talking here for a minute, we'll talk with Chelsea. Chelsea have done some great business, and Chelsea, I'll just list off here. Chelsea have got rid of Havertz, Mount, Kovacic, Koulibaly, Pulisic, Mendy, Loftus-Cheek, Ampadu, Kante, Azpilicueta, Auba, Aubameyang. That lad Fofana has gone out on loan, and João Felix's loan has finished. There's about 14 players that they've got rid of, and they have received decent money for them.
Yeah, and
they've signed
many players.
They've signed Nkunku, 25. That actual Axel Disasi from Monaco, 25 years old. Well. Nicholas Jackson, 22 years old. And these are all 60 million, 45 million, 37 million. Robert Sanchez, 25 years old, a goalie. They signed your man Angelo from Santos, don't know him, but young kid, 18 years old. And they have Levy Caldwell, who I think will be a brilliant player this season, 20 years old, back from loan at Brighton. Chelsea, to me, they have some world-class players there, but it still feels to me like they're missing so much. It's like they're missing their heartbeat, or they're missing
a spine.
I don't know. They have so many good players, but it's just like they're still missing.
But who's going to be their number 9, though? I think that's the issue.
Oh, and Nkunku.
He's out until December.
Is he?
Yeah, he got knee surgery. He got knee surgery 2 days ago. Yeah.
No, he did.
I swear to God, he's out for a minimum of 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah, so there you go. So I think you're probably spot on in putting Chelsea in 6th.
Yeah, but even though they've signed some, I don't know. Is he? That's like a Paul Merson, or what's your man, Cammy? I don't know, Jack. Is he? Did someone get sent off? Did he?
Did he? Yeah, brilliant. Right, 5th. Let's move it on to 5th then. Who have you gone for in 5th place?
I've gone for in 5th Tottenham, but I think there is potential for Tottenham to break into that top 4.
Now, are you basing this on Harry Kane staying or going?
I'm basing this solely on who's going to be my hidden gem of the season.
Postecoglou. Just take your Celtic hat off for a minute.
No, and Jack, when he came to Celtic, people were laughing, this Aussie fool, we've an Australian manager, this lad is a genius. I'm telling you, this lad will do things with Spurs. He mightn't get top. This lad will surprise people this season, I'm telling you. But can we just talk about Spurs for a minute and the Kane situation and see what you think about this situation?
Go for it.
My reckoning with Spurs is, we all know Daniel Levy is essentially a cunt, but he...
Right, I'll be beeping that one out.
No, but would you... if you were Postecoglou, I think sell Kane now, if Kane doesn't sign that new deal. And I know that's what Spurs want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe anyway. But Postecoglou is new in there. He's going to be given time to build that team. Why does he want to build it for 1 year with Harry Kane and then at the end of next season lose his star man and best striker? If he has a half-decent season this season with Kane, he has to start off the following season without his talisman. Whereas if Kane leaves this year and Spurs don't do great, they're going to be like, well, we have to give him another year anyway because he's after losing his best man.
Yeah.
You know, he's after losing his star man.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't know.
I think the scenario with Kane and Daniel Levy, I think Kane wants to leave on a free next year, but I think he's
yeah,
positioning himself to try and, I suppose I won't say win over the Spurs fans, but not to lose face with the Spurs fans. I think this is
yeah,
very similar to the Kylian Mbappe
Mbappe. Yeah,
situation, where
but
Harry Kane is saying to himself, "I don't really want to go to Bayern Munich. Now I'm going to let
I
on that
wouldn't.
I'm
I
happy
don't
to
see. I don't
go."
know why he would want to go to Bayern.
Yeah, well, that's my point. I think he's positioning himself in a situation where he's letting on that he will go, but he's going to reject a move there if a bid comes in. The bid has come in for 100 million, and Daniel Levy has rejected it. Now, I think Daniel Levy has rejected the bid because he knows that Kane is going to reject a move there. And if Daniel Levy is seen to be the one that accepted the bid and then Kane turned it down, Kane is the good guy and Daniel Levy is the bad guy. And I think they're positioning themselves against each other.
Yeah, people know true. There's rumor that Kane is actually very happy under Postecoglou. Postecoglou plays actually a very, very nice brand of football,
Yeah.
kind of attacking but possession based football, which he surprised a lot of people in Scotland. I know it's only Scotland, but you have to start somewhere. But he started long before that. He had Australia, I think, in the last 16 of World Cup. He won
He
endless
was in Japan,
titles.
sure, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
he
That's
won
where he was
endless
before
titles
Celtic.
over in Japan. But the team he took over in Japan was like a team rooted to the bottom of the table, and within 2-3 seasons, he had him doing domestic doubles and
Well, if you look at it,
like
I mean, Arsene Wenger came directly from Japan.
yeah, but he's a like Jack. I not. It's not like Celtic hat ran. This lad is like the fairy tale story, which
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with him because you know what I mean. Like if I'd like to I'd like to see you right. Like I would love to
he's
see
my
Spurs.
tip. He's my tip for. I'm not saying Spurs are going to win the league or anything, but I think Spurs will just surprise people. Spurs have just historically, well, as long as I know, just been boring Spurs. Even when
Yeah,
they were doing well, they were still boring
yeah,
Spurs.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Right.
so
For fifth place, then for me, I'm going with Liverpool in fifth.
yeah,
And I mean, I was going to say I worry for Liverpool, but I don't at all. If I was a
yeah.
Liverpool fan, I would be worried. I think their transfer window has been quite underwhelming. I think Klopp is desperate for more funds. He's not getting them from his board. I don't think Liverpool are going to have, you know, a second coming where they're going to go head to head with Man City again. I just don't see it. I don't think they've invested enough, and I don't think they've invested well enough.
I think they could have had that second coming had they invested a bit more
Oh,
this season
absolutely,
because
absolutely,
they have the nucleus there.
yeah, and they have a great
Of the
manager.
team.
As much as I don't like him,
They have all the attackers, probably attacking options. They probably have the best. They're up there definitely with City for attacking options in the Premier League, if not
well,
better for
they've
depth.
still got a few players that need to prove themselves.
Yeah, but for depth. But like if you were, I was looking back. I watched a few of the pool games now over pre-season, just kind of whatever games be on the TV. I watched the United Arsenal match and that were on it, but Liverpool had like they were scoring goals. Salah, Jota, Nunes, Diaz, Gakpo, they all scored goals throughout preseason. So there was plenty of goals in the team.
Yeah.
Their defense is solid. I know Van Dijk isn't the player he used to be. Kind of when you do cruciate the wrong side of 30, it's hard to come back.
Yeah.
He's still world class, but it's just
seems to be a confidence level more than anything else, I would say.
yeah.
With him.
But like goalie top tier, depending on who they're going to play right full. Like, are they going to bring Trent into that more central role this year? It's just their midfield doesn't have that depth. Like, Liverpool got rid of Fabinho, Hendo, Firmino, Keita, Milner, sent out that young kid Carvalho on loan. But all they got paid for was Hendo and Fabinho.
Yeah.
They lost the Ox as well. He's gone, is he?
Yeah, he's gone as well.
Which I know he's not up to much, but he's another body that was just doing a stopgap there.
Yeah,
last season.
Absolutely.
Like they don't have that anymore.
Yeah. So where have you put Liverpool?
I put Liverpool fourth.
Right, okay. Now we do have to take into consideration here as well that I think it's pretty sewn up that top 5 get Champions League next season.
Oh, is it?
Because of the new format. There's more teams in the Champions League, and I'm pretty certain the English League is going to pick up a 5th spot.
Yeah, Luke says that here, or no, Chris says that here.
Chris is saying it there. Yeah, 5 expanded to 5 teams.
teams.
So there we go. You know what I mean? So it's no longer really a top 4.
So what? Like going to be into the Conference League, top 10 in the Premier League, you probably get into that.
I don't know, to be quite honest with you. If it is, it's kind of crap because I just think it dilutes the importance of it. You know what I mean? If you go from a top 4 to a top 5 to a top 6 to a top 7, you know, I mean, what's the value of it anymore if everybody is just getting into these kind of competitions? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
But I've gone in 4th. I've gone for Chelsea in 4th. I just have a feeling Pochettino. Now, again, I picked these today and
you were rushing, were you?
I was rushing it, and I kind of like now that I realized that Nkunku was going to be out for 4 months as well. That obviously
is he?
Yeah, is he? That's also going to put a lot of pressure on them. But I don't know. I just have a feeling. I think Pochettino is a very good manager. Like you were saying there, I think he's after doing some really good business in the summer. He's after getting in some good players. He's after clearing out the dead wood. And we've still got 3 weeks left of the transfer window, so they could potentially do.
Yeah, but the thing that these players also need time to gel. Like they have. Chelsea just have a whole load of players just thrown in there. Do you know, like the amount of players they signed last season?
Yeah.
But if they can stick to kind of some of their more homegrown players, like you think, like they still have lads there like Sterling and all. Sterling had an absolute nightmare of a season realistically last year.
Well, I think it just goes to show how good of a coach Pep Guardiola is. I never rated Sterling, but he absolutely
Sterling, yeah. I don't know. Sterling was very good.
He also had Kevin De Bruyne putting the fucking ball on the play.
He also tore up for a while at Liverpool.
Did he?
Yeah, I thought he was very good. Sure, he wouldn't have got to move to City if he hadn't.
Maybe so. Right, we're going into top 3. Give me your 3rd place.
My 3rd place is United.
Reasons, please.
I think United are going to be knocking around that top 3, top 4 anyway. It's just I think it really depends what way City are going to go. Like City last year, it's almost like they had a transition during the middle of the year and still went on to win the league. It's like a horse that was cantering along, fell a bit behind, and then just coasted towards the end without even really going into 5th gear.
Yeah.
And Arsenal were kind of like the lad, that jockey that was up the top baiting the horse the whole time, and then the horse just died at the end.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal have done decent business. They haven't got rid of much. I do think Declan Rice.
I presume your top 3 then are City, Arsenal, United.
Yeah, but like Arsenal also could fall asunder. Like,
yeah, I'll give you mine. I've gone City, United, Arsenal. I put United ahead of Arsenal.
Yeah, so look, they're similar enough. Like your top 5. Oh no, Chelsea. Is Chelsea in your top 4?
Chelsea are in my top 4. So my top 4 is City, United, Arsenal, and Chelsea. You still there?
City, United, Arsenal, Chelsea. Yeah, and who's 5th?
5th then for me is Liverpool, and then Newcastle is 6th.
So you don't have Spurs anywhere?
No. I just think there's too many. I think their defense is crap. I mean, where did they finish last year? 5th, was it? And they had Harry Kane, who scored 30 goals. I thought they were terrible. Yeah, I don't see them getting into the top 6. I just don't. And if Harry Kane leaves, I don't think they'll get into the top half of the table.
Really?
Now, I think the one team that probably could potentially squeeze in there, maybe ahead of a Newcastle, would be Aston Villa. Because I think Unai Emery is a fantastic manager.
Where you put that question earlier on, what will be your surprise team? I have Villa and Spurs there. They're kind of...
Right, okay. Right, well, I give you my reasoning around top 3. I think Arsenal last season obviously had a fantastic 7 months.
They had a fantastic season overall. You know, they didn't
Yeah,
bottle
they
it in
did.
my
No,
eyes.
they
They
did. They
just
did.
ran a bit
They
out
did.
of steam. I think they had a
Yeah.
fantastic season. Like, if you told them at the start of the year, if you told Arsenal fans, we'll give you a great run for your money at the title, but like we're going to get pipped to the title by City. Going on previous seasons, like they'd be taking the hand off you,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
like.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I tell you, I know it sounds stupid, but I'd say some Arsenal fans out there would have taken that over the FA Cup. Do you know, they've won a lot of FA Cups in moderately recent years,
Mm.
but that was Arsenal's first proper title. That was a title challenge,
Yeah, oh yeah.
wasn't
I
it?
mean,
Like that was
sure,
title running.
they spent 95% of the league season on top of the table.
Yeah. So like they got a good run for their money. They haven't really got rid of much. They got rid of Xhaka, which I'm kind of slightly surprised at, but I have a feeling he also maybe would have he probably wanted to also call it a day there too.
Yeah, he wanted
He
he
really
wanted to be
turned
the main man. He's not
he
going to get in
really
ahead of
turned
Declan
around his
Rice.
keeper there. He had a great season last year and he played plenty of games last season.
Mm.
But like they brought in Rice, so he's not going to be in there. They brought in Havertz.
He's a form.
I've Havertz down to be my flop player if
Me too.
if they play him as that false nine, which they have been playing him as.
Yeah.
You know,
And
Havertz.
now with Gabriel Jesus injured at the start of the season.
Yeah, but
for
Havertz
Arsenal.
isn't. They're
But what
bringing
is
him
he?
in now, and they're
That's my
doing
thing with
exactly what
Havertz.
Chelsea
He's
done
not
with
a
him.
number 9. He's not a number 10. He's not a number 8. What the fuck is he?
I thought now when Havertz signed for Chelsea, of knowing what he was about before, I thought he was a similar player to Jack Grealish. I thought that's what the kind of attributes that he was coming with, or that was the kind of position he was coming to play.
Yeah.
Do you know, holds onto the ball. Say, if you're kind of playing a 4-2-3-1, he'd be top of the left. He's not essentially a winger. It's like as if you're kind of playing, he's a left-sided 10, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
That's what I would have kind of seen him as.
Yeah.
I don't know what he is. A bum.
I think we're both in agreement now. I want to just throw a couple of curveballs out there as well, all right? Because I don't think City have done good business in the transfer. Now, they've signed your man Gvardiol, is a fantastic footballer, one of the best centre-backs in the world. But outside of that, I don't really think they've done good business. They've lost Gundogan.
I guarantee you who's going to be. I guarantee you Kovacic will be unreal for City.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, but what role is he going to play there with Rodri? Is he going to play? Is it going to be
backup
Rodri?
role? I'd say.
Yeah, backup role. I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe so. I think
Pep Guardiola gets the best out of every player he takes on board.
He
and
does.
I don't think Pep
Do
Guardiola.
you expect any
Pep Guardiola
fall off
knows
from
what
City?
Kovacic is about.
Do you expect any fall off from City this season after winning the treble?
Yeah, just because City have won so much. It's like now, I won't say they've peaked. I won't dare say they've peaked or anything like that. But
Go on,
like,
commit to it. We'll clip it up and put it all over the internet.
It's just so hard to. It depends how hungry they are. Like Pep seems to be very hungry. Pep has won what, 5 out of 7 leagues, is it? Something like that. 5 out of 7 leagues. So that shows his hunger is there. If Pep's hunger is there, City's hunger will be there. Like the likes of Haaland. Haaland will probably be at City for 2-3 more years max.
Yeah.
And then he'll move on. I would just think, would you? Like, I don't think he's the player that's going to be
he'll end up at Real Madrid or Barcelona or something.
Well, like he's only a player that's only 22 or 3 years old, so he is hungry.
But as well, I mean, if Haaland's going to move on from City, you're going to probably be talking Mbappe at Real Madrid. Barcelona, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he does stay. I don't know. I don't know. I just have a feeling that City could hit maybe a bit of a slump this season. Now, that still doesn't mean that they won't go on and win the league, but I think for the likes of Manchester United and the likes of Arsenal and whoever else that may be up there knocking about, you have to be there ready to pounce if they do go through a phase of maybe, dropping, I don't know, 5 points out of 9 or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? I think that's what the goal has to be for the chasing pack, and I think it's well doable. So I mean, I wouldn't be writing Arsenal, Liverpool, United, anybody really out of winning the title. I think it's up for grabs. I have a feeling, right, that either Arsenal or Manchester United could go an awful long way in the Champions League this season. I
Yeah,
just have a sneaky suspicion. I think first of all with Ten Hag, he loves cup competitions. He's good at them. You know, he was 10 seconds away from getting to a Champions League final with Ajax. And I think with Arsenal, I think they'll prioritize pretty early on. If they're within, I think in around Christmas time, if they're within touching distance of the top of the table, I think you could see them prioritizing that over Champions League. And if they're not, I think you could see Arteta prioritizing Champions League over Premier League. And we've seen in the past before, I mean, the likes of Chelsea had no European football and, you know, they won the Premier League. They were terrible when they won the Champions League. Liverpool, I think, were 5th when they won the Champions League in 2005. So I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility either.
yeah. Sorry there, Jack. I'm just looking back on a few comments I see here. Aaron Butcher put in a comment. I feel Chelsea don't have many leaders. I agree, and that's what I think. Where myself and Jack were getting at, that something is kind of missing there. They have a lot of players, but it feels like there's something big missing. He said, James named as new captain, says it all. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I only seen it just before we came live, yeah.
Reece James, captain of Chelsea. Jeez. Is Thiago Silva, he's still there, is he?
He's still there, I think, yeah.
I know he's not going to be playing every game, but
yeah.
He's Reece James.
What's he, 22, 23?
Nah, he's a bit older, I'd say, than that, but he has purple and pink going through his hair, you know, like... And he's a fantastic player. He's a fine player, but he doesn't come across as a leader to me anyway.
Right. So for me, 1 City, 2 United, 3 Arsenal, 4 Chelsea, 5 Liverpool, and 6 Newcastle. And finally, what's yours?
City, Arsenal, United, Liverpool, Spurs, and Chelsea. And I don't mean to be like, there's teams there like your Villas,
Newcastle,
your Brightons, your Newcastles, your Brentford. I don't mean to be disrespectful there to any of them. I just think this is kind of what I'm thinking. I hope I'm proved wrong, and I hope some of the so-called smaller teams do come up with it. I just think Newcastle, they've made a few smart signings, but I don't think they've signed enough. Not that I think that they had to go out and sign left, right, and centre, but still their main left full still at the minute is what's his name? Dan Burn. Like Dan Burn was signed as, he's a 6'7", signed as a centre half, and he had an unbelievable season last year.
Did.
They signed Livramento, who can play right or left full at the. I think he's a very good sign. He's a young lad. You remember him? He's from.
Yeah.
He's with Southampton last year. I think they signed him from Chelsea the year before. Signed Harvey Barnes, good signing. Signed this guy Tonali from AC Milan, who was very good but didn't want to leave Milan. Like, they have a good team there, but you're playing Champions League. Like, I just don't think they have enough squad depth. Like, they were playing lads here, Jacob Murphy and some lads like this last season. I think Callum Wilson will be massive to their season, because I'll put this out here. I think if he was fit, he's in the top 5 strikers in the Premier League.
Yeah.
If he's fit, again, he's 32 and he hasn't been fit his whole life. You know, he's never had a full run at a season.
Yeah.
I just think Newcastle, it was a great season from last year, and it was great, I think, for the Premier League that they did push that. And it'd be great if they could push it again, because that will make it all the more competitive. It's just hard to see when they didn't make that many signings. What would you think?
Yeah. Well, I think we're back to. I think we're going to be back to the heavy hitters in top 4, top 6 again. You know what I mean? And we like both of us are very similar there. I've got Newcastle in my top 6, only barely, but I think we will see a return to a bit of normality in terms of the top 4, top 5.
That's kind of the way I went about it.
Yeah,
just like last season was such a mad season that.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think the 2 main ones last season were, of course, Chelsea and Liverpool having their stumbling blocks and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, look, we'll fly down through a couple of last topics here. Top goal scorer on 3, 1, 2, 3. Haaland.
Highland.
Right, there we go. Player of the year. Who have you gone for?
But yeah, player of the year's
a difficult one.
It is.
It could be anyone.
Player of the year, yeah, it could literally be anybody, but I'm giving a 3 of Odegaard, Harry Kane, or Haaland.
All right, I've gone Kevin De Bruyne in brackets if he stays fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was player of the year last season? Was it Haaland?
Yeah, it had to be Haaland. Sure, he scored 50 fucking goals or something, did he?
Was it? Yeah. Like
Yeah, I think it was.
that's just kind of.
No, but they usually don't get the trophy until the end of this, until maybe the winter time. I don't think, don't they? Not.
I'm not 100% sure there
I
now,
don't think they
or
do.
that might be Writers' Player of the Year. So I don't
Yeah,
know,
something
but
like that, yeah.
I'm kind of going like I think Odegaard's an absolute baller.
Yeah,
I
he
think
is.
He's
I agree with you.
massive in what Arsenal are aiming to do.
Yeah, I agree.
And
100%.
like if United are to do well, if United are to do well, they need players to stand up. Like
Bruno.
it's a big season for Bruno
Rashford.
Fernandes. Big season for Bruno Fernandes. He's after getting the captain's armband now. I think he slightly has to stop that whinging and all. Like I think he has it in his capabilities to have a fantastic season. We know he's actually the first season he came. If he could find that form that he found in them first 6 months, he was signed in January, was he?
Yeah, but hold on now. I want to stop you there for a minute because he was unbelievable last season in terms of his goal and assist rates. Like he had more. Did he have the second highest amount of? He had the highest amount of assists in the Premier League, and I think he was number 1 in terms of chances created. It's just he was playing a different style of football than he was.
Yeah.
And he wasn't scoring as many goals. You know what I mean?
No, but
I do agree with you. He does have to chip in with more goals this season because too much of the burden was placed on Rashford last year to score goals. You know what I mean? And he stood up to the mark, in fairness. But the more players,
geez, it's mad to think that, like, if you said overall to the naked eye, you kind of be like, Rashford didn't have a great season. Then when you look at his goal haul, you're like, what, he scored 33 goals or something in all competitions?
No, I think 30 on the button.
Was it? Like,
yeah. Class,
geez,
unreal.
It was.
Yeah. Right, we'll go with our 2 surprises then, team and player.
Okay, my surprise will be Villa.
Villa, right? Okay.
Is that a surprise? Is it like I think Villa see what people can see what they're doing there. Like Villa have signed that Pau Torres. Do you know him from Villarreal?
Yeah, we tried to get him
on a free. Is lovely.
Yeah,
and then that Moussa Diaby. I don't know much about him, but I see he scored 9 goals, 8 assists in 33 games last year for Leverkusen.
Yeah, he's a good footballer.
I think they paid 50 million quid for him.
Yeah.
Like,
and give me your player then, surprise player.
I didn't know a player. I went surprise manager, Postecoglou.
You've absolutely bottled it.
I'm telling you, Jack. But he's good. I'm telling you, this lad is good.
Right, but you know what? I'm looking forward to his talking throughout the season about him then, because you're after
he comes across very well as well. Very well spoken. Very well spoken.
Yeah,
it's
but
just
you are after committing heavily to this Postecoglou now, so we're going to be on you for the season, Mike.
But just hearing like him, he's well able to stand up for it's just, the Australian accent doesn't come across as too intimidating, like and English, especially when he was up in Scotland, like he won everybody over. He won everybody over with his style of football. I was surprised he didn't actually take some players from Celtic.
Yeah. And I hope you are right. But I think it will also be really funny if you're wrong, and I'll just be going in about 3 months' time, he's a bum.
if he's sacked by Christmas.
Right, my 2 surprises then. I've gone for a surprise team of Burnley. I think Burnley are going to do decent this year. I as much as I don't like Vincent Kompany, I think he just has what it takes to be a really good manager. He brought him back to pre-season 3 weeks after the league ended or something like that, or was it because they had obviously won the league and their season was over. He brought him back for 3 weeks, gave him 10 days off, and then brought him back in again. I think they're going to do well. I've gone for a surprise player as Darwin Núñez. I think Darwin Núñez could potentially kick on this season, and as much as I don't want him, and I really, really hope I'm wrong on this one, but I think he could potentially kick on and have a good season this year. Who will flop then? Team and player, finally, before we go.
Wolves, I think.
Yeah, I've gone for Wolves as my team. I think we're the same on both of these.
And I just reading Chris's comments. Ricey is unbiased. You can't say Ricey is unbiased. Celtic fool. Nunes is a bum.
He's only winding you up.
Oh.
Right, so I think we've both gone then for Wolves and Kai Havertz as a player. I think that's pretty.
Kai Havertz, yeah. Like, I think Kai Havertz, I think he's an easy suggestion or an easy target there, you know, with that.
Yeah.
First manager sack question here from John.
First manager sacked. I am going to go with.
I was going to, before I came on, I was going to go with if you were asking this, I was going to be like the Wolves manager. I thought I had it sussed. And then I went onto Twitter and I see Wolves have appointed a new manager.
Yeah. First manager sacked. I think that's probably an easier one to answer once the transfer window closes. But as of now, I think it could very easily be David Moyes.
I was going to ask you, could you think David Moyes could go? Because they had domestically, they had a very poor season. No,
yeah, they haven't signed on it. Now, it looks like Harry Maguire is potentially going to go there. They're linked with Scott McTominay as well and James Ward-Prowse. I think if they can get the three of them in, then I think they'll be all right. But yeah, that would be mine. Ricey, we leave it there.
I'll go with Bournemouth manager. What's his name?
Manager, Gary O'Neill.
No, Gary O'Neill's not.
Yeah, sorry.
He's
anyway, we leave it there. Good first podcast back. I appreciate you coming on as usual. I presume you're going to be on throughout the season.
Yeah.
Happy days. Thanks everybody for watching as well, guys. If you're listening back to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, please do give us a 5-star review. Like and subscribe if you're watching YouTube as well. We've got daily content on there as well for anybody listening elsewhere. But until next week, we'll be back again. We're going to be doing these from Monday nights as well, guys. So